Hello, everyone. My name is Laura Harrison, and I'll be guiding you through Group 4's ethical analysis titled Tesla Autopilot Safety Claims Under Investigation. This presentation examines Tesla's autopilot and full self-driving systems. We will unpack the investigations, the stakeholder impacts, the competing values, and ultimately explore what ethical theories reveal about Tesla's decisions and responsibilities. Tesla has long presented itself as a pioneer in autonomous driving. However, federal regulators, including the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, have alleged that the company overstated the capabilities of its autopilot and full self-driving systems. This becomes an ethical issue when marketing language suggests autonomy that does not fully exist. When consumers believe these systems can operate independently, their expectations and their behaviors change. The ethical tension emerges between innovation, safety, and truthful communication. To understand the scope of this concern, let's look at the timeline. In 2016 marks the first fatal crashes involving autopilot use. By 2021, NHTSA opened a preliminary investigation, which then escalated. In February 2023, reports of Tesla's veering off-road triggered a recall of more than 362,000 vehicles using full self-driving beta software. December 2023 brought an even larger recall affecting millions of vehicles. In August 2025, a Miami jury found Tesla responsible for a deadly 2019 crash and awarded more than $240 million to victims' families. And by October 2025, regulators documented at least 58 incidents in which Teslas on full self-driving violated basic traffic laws. This timeline shows a persistent pattern of technological overpromising, real-world failures, and regulatory intervention. These events raise several important ethical questions. First, technology limitations. Can Tesla guarantee safe performance when the system cannot handle all road scenarios? Second, misleading advertising. Does the branding autopilot or full self-driving create unrealistic expectations? Third, system behavior in emergencies. What happens when the system must make life or death decisions? And finally, responsibility and liability. Who is truly accountable when a crash occurs? The driver or Tesla? This is reminiscent of the trolley problem, where split-second decisions determine outcomes. The difference is that here, the decision maker is a software system whose limits may not fully be understood by the driver. Let's move to the stakeholders involved. Tesla Incorporated faces lawsuits, recalls, and reputational risk. Tesla drivers and owners depend on the technology and may misinterpret its capabilities. Passengers, pedestrians, and other drivers may be harmed by autopilot malfunctions. Families of victims experience irreversible losses and seek justice. These groups experience the consequences in very different ways, making the ethical analysis more complex. NHTSA and law enforcement responsible for investigating crashes and ensuring public safety. Media outlets, which shape how the public interprets Tesla's action. And Elon Musk, whose public statements often amplify consumer expectation. Each stakeholder holds different values and priorities: safety, innovation, profit, and justice, which will come into conflict as we will see next. Here, we see the core conflict. Tesla is balancing innovation, market leadership, and profit against safety, transparency, and accountability. Consumers want convenience. Regulators want accuracy. Families want justice. Engineers want time to test. Leadership wants speed to market. This ecosystem naturally produces ethical tension. Let's look deeper at the first set of conflicts. Corporate leadership versus regulators. Tesla's marketing emphasizes advanced autonomy, while regulators insist on accuracy and evidence-based safety claims. Corporate leadership versus consumers. Tesla highlights convenience and innovation, but drivers still must remain fully alert, a contradiction that often leads to misuse. Engineers versus corporate pressure. Technologists frequently advocate for longer testing and refinement, while leadership pushes aggressive release timelines. These tensions directly affect public safety. The second layer of conflict includes consumers versus their responsibilities. Many drivers rely too heavily on autopilot, assuming it is more capable than it is. Public safety versus innovation speed. Tesla's beta testing on public roads raises questions about whether innovation is being prioritized over safety. Regulators versus economic pressure. Regulatory bodies must protect the public while balancing political and economic pressures not to slow down technological progress. Again, we see how multiple values collide. The final set of conflicts includes shareholders versus ethical accountability. Investors often want bold, hype-driven claims to boost stock value, even when safety questions remain. Victims' families versus corporate branding. Those who've lost loved ones want accountability and transparency, while Tesla must manage legal exposure and brand reputation. These conflicts highlight why ethical decision-making must be deliberate and principled. In this section, we apply major ethical theories presented through the Potter box to evaluate Tesla's decisions and communication practices. These frameworks help us understand what ethical action should look like, even when real-world pressures complicate decision-making. The purpose here is threefold: to analyze Tesla's communication practices, to interpret those actions through ethical theories, and to determine what choices would align with ethical leadership and public responsibility. This gives us a structured way to access the company's behavior. What action produces the greatest good for the greatest number? While autonomous driving may reduce accidents in the distant future, present harms, including crashes, injuries, and deaths, show that current risks outweigh benefits. From this perspective, Tesla should revise ambiguous terminology, strengthen risk communication, and prioritize immediate public safety rather than long-term marketing goals. Duty-based ethics emphasizes honesty, transparency, and respect for individuals. Using terms like full self-driving or showing promotional videos that imply full autonomy violates the duty to be truthful if the system cannot reliably perform that way. Ethically, Tesla should use precise and accurate language, correct misleading claims, and prioritize truth over persuasion. Virtue ethics focuses on moral character, attributes like honesty, humility, and courage. Tesla's drive for innovation is admirable, but it must be paired with humility about current limitations. Admitting errors and adjusting messaging requires courage. This theory recommends demonstrating integrity, prioritizing moral character over market dominance, and embracing accountability as a leadership trait. The ethics of care centers on relationships and responsibilities to vulnerable groups. These include drivers who overtrust the system, pedestrians and cyclists who share the road, and families impacted by crashes. A care-based perspective requires Tesla to center human safety above convenience, avoid shifting blame onto users alone, and design communication that prevents overconfidence. Communitarian ethics emphasizes the common good and the responsibilities organizations have to society at large. Since Autopilot operates in public spaces, Tesla decisions extend far beyond its customers. This theory suggests Tesla should collaborate closely with regulators, set industry standards for transparency, and prioritize societal welfare over competitive advantage. This framework focuses on fairness, protection of rights, and informed consent. Consumers should have an accurate understanding of what the technology can and cannot do. Non-users, such as pedestrians, deserve protection even though they did not choose to interact with the system. Ethically, Tesla must ensure complete safety disclosures, transparent, accessible information, and corrective measures when misinformation has occurred. When we combine all ethical theories, a unified message emerges. Tesla must clarify Autopilot's true capabilities, remove or revise language implying full autonomy, communicate risk consistently, and work collaboratively with others. Across all frameworks, the themes are the same: honesty, accountability, transparency, and prioritizing human safety. Now we transition into our management recommendations. These recommendations are grounded in ethical principles: non-malfeasance, beneficence, autonomy, justice, and professional responsibility, and designed to restore trust while improving safety and compliance. The high-level recommendations include correcting technological and ethical failures, improving organizational communication, aligning internal processes with ethical standards, and strengthening transparency across the company. We recommend Tesla commit to full transparency regarding autopilot limitations, update warning systems and user interfaces, truthfully represent the technology in marketing materials, and communicate clearly to their customers, consumers, and engineers. This supports both safety and public trust. Tesla should adopt mandatory driver monitoring technologies, automatic disengagement if the driver becomes inattentive, and clearer, unavoidable warnings. These measures reduce misuse stemming from overconfidence. We recommend independent third-party audits to evaluate autopilot algorithms, system limitations, potential bias, and real-world safety performance. Transparency through external review prevents internal blind spots. Tesla should redesign autopilot following safety-first procedures, following geofencing features to restrict autopilot to appropriate environments, automatic shutoff in unsafe conditions, and gradual rollouts rather than mass beta releases. Finally, Tesla should implement clear accountability structures, quarterly safety performance reporting, an internal ethics committee or review board, and continuous monitoring of autopilot's real-world behavior. These slides include the full list of sources used for their analysis, including reporting from BBC, CNBC, Politico, and ethical frameworks discussed in media ethics. Thank you for listening to our presentation. Tesla's autopilot controversy illustrates the intersection of innovation, ethics, public safety, and corporate responsibility. Through careful analysis, we can see that ethical leadership isn't just about building cutting-edge technology, it's about safeguarding the people who rely on it. Thank you.